Mad Hatter. I think it's a reference from the Alice in Wonderland book, but it's essentially because a lot of people see me as a little bit of an eccentric person. But otherwise, I call myself a little bit of a dreamer. I like to see things and imagine a lot of things for the future. What we have here is an urban living lab, and the idea of this is to really experiment with various aspects of sustainability. The space was built in response to the climate crisis, and we've tried to do these different things that respond to the climate crisis in the city of Bangalore, and visualize it through the things that we do here. So this is, it's a laboratory that has lots of different people and lots of experiments. It's also meant to be a platform for collaboration. With water, water in the context of Bangalore is a very precious resource. It's considered, after Cape Town, one of the most vulnerable cities in the world to water. And personally, in our space, what we try and do is largely rainwater harvesting. So we harvest as much rain as we can, but we also send that water into the ground through water pits that we've built, and try and create the water table as well. So there's this whole circularity of water that we try and use, both in terms of collection and then also the use. So all the water that's used in the space is then recycled and reused in some format, and sent back into. So we try and control the water within our system. Well, it's probably two things for me personally. One is, I think I saw a documentary called Before the Floods by DiCaprio, Hollywood actor, many years ago, I think about 5 years ago, and that deeply inspired me because for the first time I started to understand what the climate crisis was. So that set me on the pathway, but I think the most motivational, inspirational thing for me has been my daughter. I think just seeing, and young people in general, I think seeing what the future holds for them has made me, at least at a very personal level, I am inspired to try and do something, to try and then respond to it. So that's my biggest motivation. I spent 20 years being a corporate lawyer, so that was one part of my world. I was like the guys, I guess, that you see on Wall Street, constantly stressed and working. So for me, this has been a very, very pleasant change to see the world through this new lens. And I think what inspires me today is just waking up and coming to the space, because every day when we come in, we end up meeting somebody new who's doing some incredible work. So I think my greatest excitement about this space has been the people I've met. Just so many inspiring people who are doing wonderful things in this city at least. And now I've met more people across India, across the world. So I feel like there's a lot of hope for me. Just there's lots of people trying to do cool things. I think climate is a challenge at some level for everyone. I think talking about it has always been a challenge at so many levels. I don't know if I have the perfect answer for what sort of challenges. We have challenges every day. We've got rain coming through our ceilings, we've got plants dying, we've got fish dying, we've got people who fall sick. So we've got real world problems that happen every day. But beyond that, I think what we're really interested in is solving big problems. We'd like to use a small example like this to really transform the city. And that is the biggest problem that we're working on, trying to solve. And we've realized it is a complex problem. It's not as simple as I assumed initially. It's just people are different, cultures are different, cities are different. And to really understand the complexity of a city, I think for me has been quite interesting. And it's challenging, but I'm also very excited by the challenge. I think a big part of my professional life was being a lawyer, and therefore I saw the world through that lens. But it also gave me, I think, a good understanding of how systems work. Whether that's political systems, whether that's sort of administrative systems, whether that's commerce, corporates. I think that appreciation was very useful when I started this journey personally. Because for me today personally, I think I also work a lot with the non-profit world. I run, so apart from this, I'm also a co-founder at an organization called the Institut for Climate Action. We're a group of about 60 people now, lawyers, filmmakers, scientists, who all come together, and we're working on different parts of climate action we work on biodiversity, we work on cities, we work on a bunch of different things. So in that sense, it's this sort of approach of being able to see the world historically from a certain lens of the corporate world, and now to see the world from a more social lens and a non-profit and a civil service sort of lens. And for me, this combination is working well because now I'm able to appreciate two very different sides. Unfortunately, in cities like ours, or I don't know if this is in other parts of the world, but in India at least, the world sort of is divided into the for-profit world and the non-profit world, and they don't talk to each other, and they do very different types of things. And I think that's really dangerous for us to be able to build a better future. So I think our ability to actually bring these two things together, and that's where my history of having worked in the professional world and now working in the social world, I think I've been able to bring that together. Yeah, so the space is meant to be a community space. So the idea of really saying how can we bring that diversity into one place, right? Because most spaces are built only for one type of personality or one type of, like it's either a very elite space or a very sort of grounded space. The intention here is really to say how can we bring lots of different people to come and feed off each other's energy and to really find this idea of collaboration. So for me, community both at a physical space level, but also building communities of practice, of people, of livelihood, of areas. I think that there's a lot to learn of when you start to live together closely and share and support each other. That's when communities come. So we're hoping to use that as the format for community. To work together. I think the whole world needs to come together in different ways. This area, this little space needs to come together. The city has to come together. So I think that if there's anything I can pass on, I think it's just the strength of collaborations. I really believe it. I think that you're always stronger. If you're one person, you're so strong. When you're two people, you're stronger. When you have many people, you're really strong. So the idea of really saying that if we came together, there is many things that we could do that we otherwise believe is impossible. I think it's very possible. I mean, I've learned it in the time that I've spent here. And I truly believe that collaboration is the way for the future. People have to come together.